Welcome back to Confessions of a Recruiter with Blake and Declan. We are on a global mission to build the world's largest community of recruiters so we can all connect and succeed together.
That's right. If you want to check out more of Confessions of a Recruiter, jump onto confessions.tv, subscribe to our bi-weekly newsletter, access merch, and if you want to chat to us directly, join our Discord at XR House with the links below. Now, we hope you enjoy this episode.
Back for another week of Confessions, Blakeo.
Yeah, we're back for another week. To kick the show off today, mate, let's actually talk about our sponsor that we butchered in our last podcast. Before You Speak Coffee, they've decided to sponsor the podcast. They like what we're doing and said that anyone that's listening to the podcast that wants to buy some Before You Speak Coffee, you get 10% off by using the code XRecruiter. But, Declan, why should someone buy some Before You Speak Coffee? Let's talk about it.
This is powering recruiters across the country. And the reason why I love it, they've got options. I like the OG mix. Vitality, longevity, clarity. It's based on MCT oil, so it's a slow-releasing caffeine hit. Ginseng, turmeric, so it's like coffee with the... Coffee already has a lot of health benefits. I mean, most people get their micronutrients from drinking coffee, but this takes it to the next level, super palatable, and mixes really well. So it's in sachet form, and then they've also got a collagen coffee as well. So we know how much recruitment ages you. So to keep your skin nice and plump, try the coffee collagen mix.
Beauty. 10% off. Use the code XRecruiter and get your cup of confessions. All right, what are we talking about this week? We've got a couple of things to talk about.
We do.
Talent X.
Before we get there, I reckon we just share some good news stories that's happened. I got a nice little comment yesterday about enjoying the podcast and stuff, but more importantly, I don't know if the deal's gone through yet, but interviews are happening, offers are being made for people coming on the podcast, hearing about other agencies. It's happened again.
Yeah, so this is something that we didn't really anticipate before the podcast, but what's been happening is when agencies and agency owners come on the podcast, share their background, share their story, what they do in recruitment, how they do things, we're finding other recruiters are listening and then reaching out to that agency owner and saying, hey, you sound really cool. If you've got any opportunities internally at your agency, I'd love to come and interview to work at your business. So we know of two situations that we've essentially created a placement and created a recruiter at one of our podcasts, two of our podcast guests now. Who knows how many people have actually done that we don't know of, but it's a pretty cool situation where, you come on a podcast, you share about yourself, and then people want to reach out to you and work for you and all that kind of thing. So I think that's a nice feel-good special moment for sure.
Oh, mate, awesome. Because you know how hard it is to find recruiters.
It's very
there's
difficult.
a lot of weight
Yeah.
to what's happening, and it just goes to show how much the industry needs to be brought together, and people are connecting and not looking over the enemy as the over the hill as the enemy with other agencies.
Yeah,
So it's awesome. I wouldn't be surprised if the few hundred downloads Lee Pollard's already got him. People would line up at his door.
100%. Yeah. So if there's anyone out there that owns an agency and maybe they want to get more airtime, they want people to know about their story, they've got something to share that they believe other recruiters will get value out of, then reach out to us, reach out to Logan and see if you can come on, see if there's a spot to get you on. We interview a recruiter every Wednesday, so there's no shortage of availability to get people in and to get people talking. So it's certainly another brick in the wall to be able to get the community coming closer together, knowing each other, networking with each other, and essentially making our industry better.
That's it. Better together.
Better together.
Speaking about that, you had a few points you wanted to discuss.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things that I've been thinking about over the last few days. The first thing is recruitment training. Now, where does a recruiter go? And we want some audience feedback here. Where does a recruiter go if you are struggling with getting new clients, screening candidates, making placements, whatever it might? It could even be like managing your time effectively. Managing your time effectively is a skill that a lot of recruiters struggle with that's not actually about the tasks and duties of being a recruiter. So, where do you go to educate yourself, to learn, to train yourself on the skills required to become better? If you can't go to your direct manager, which we're finding more and more is one of the most common bits of feedback that we receive when people reach out to us and go, hey, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? I've been listening to your podcast. And, our instant reaction is like, why aren't you going to your manager with this stuff? And half the time the recruiter's like, oh, look, I don't really feel comfortable going to my manager, or I've tried and it's not working. Or
they're old school. They don't have time.
Yeah.
They don't have time, or they don't have any new best practices or processes, or looking ahead. It's sort of, this is how we've always done it mentality.
Yeah. So the question, just to kind of simplify that statement, is where do you as a recruiter go for external training and mentoring from within the industry? There's a couple of things off the top of my head that I know is like the Greg Savage Academy that gets pumped out a lot. The girl from Emily from WOW.
Emily McLeod, yeah.
So there's that. But where else do you recruiters go to be able to educate yourself and get better at recruitment? So if you can send us a message, post a comment, tag us, whatever it might be, we would be really interested to know what like the obvious choice of the go-to for training is. The next is networking. So there's a lot of like random sporadic networking events. There's no like one full proper networking event that is a bit of a no-brainer. Well, I guess RCSA would definitely be up there. They do a lot of networking events in Melbourne and Sydney. They've recently done one in Brisbane, which was really, really fun. However, I want to put it to the audience again. Where do you go when you want to step outside the box, learn from other recruiters, learn from other people in the industry? Where do you go from a networking and event standpoint? Maybe it's a Facebook group, a LinkedIn group, a Discord, some sort of channel on Slack. Where do you go to network and meet other recruiters?
Well, what would be the value add you would have from another recruiter?
Talking to other recruiters gives you more insight onto what you're doing and how you can refine your process. It's kind of like, I find it's kind of like a personal development. It's like doing a personal development course. You're not going to implement 100% of the things you know, but if you can just implement like 5 or 10% of the things that you learn, or you discover better ways to do things in a book, in a course, in some training, in whatever it might be, then you're 5 to 10% better than you were when you started. And if you consistently do that, then your skill set will evolve significantly over a long period of time. But it's like going to the gym. You're not just going to go to the gym once or twice and then think you're going to have these miraculous results. You need to be networking and constantly talking to other recruiters and other people in the industry over a sustained long period of time for it to actually sink in and for you to actually become a better recruiter. So again, to simplify that question, where do you go online or in person to network with other recruiters? Let us know. Comments, DMs, polls. We'd be interested to find out.
And if it's nowhere, let us know. And then let us know what you'd want to have, and we could even create our own.
Yeah, I guess that's the lead into, I guess the next question is if there's no kind of obvious answer where people go, oh, you've got to, like, what phone do you get? Oh, the iPhone. Something as obvious as that. When it comes to recruitment networking and recruitment education and training, we want to know where the obvious spots are to go. And if there isn't one, then let's create one.
100%. Hey, just want to jump in here. We got a confessions hotline, so give us a call, send us a text if you want to share any juicy stories, or even just ask a question that's been on your mind, because we'd love to hear from you. The phone number is 0485 865 483. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Okay, next, I want to do a poll. I think this is really important. So as some of you may already know, we're splitting out XRecruiter and Confessions. So we now have got confessions.tv. We will eventually get a website up and have its own little baby, but for now it's just a LinkedIn page, Confessions of a Recruiter LinkedIn page. And what we want to do is have a show where at the moment our podcast is interviewing other recruiters from within the industry, getting insights and learning. The show, we want to create more of an educational or not so much educational, but more of like an entertainment point. So I've got a couple of things here, and let's do a poll for you recruiters out there. What should we do? What's the best use of our time for our audience for the Confessions of a Recruiter show? We've got A, politics, news, market discussions of the industry. B, entertainment. We could do a Change My Mind series, skits, games, some entertaining kind of stuff recruitment related. C, we could do live shows. It could be like live cold calling, screening candidates, strategy sessions on building your desk, and maybe getting some market experts in, creating our own, but doing some sort of live sessions where we can all participate and grow together. And D, it could be keeping up with the XRecruiter boys. You know, it could be us two sharing our wins, sharing our losses. If you're interested to hear how we're going in our own agencies, what we're billing a month, what our issues with objections are, how we're going in XRecruiter, then we're happy to share the journey of XRecruiter and the journey of our recruitment experience with the broader audience. You may find it interesting, you might not find it interesting, but the purpose of this poll is to put it back to the audience and start to kind of really dial in the content specific to what our recruiters want. So let's do a poll, put your votes in, and then we'll start building out a little bit of a weekly content for you recruiters.
Awesome. No, mate, that's good. And then I think like we did do the announcement of the RCSA partnership and Talent X, but chatting to John yesterday, mate, this RCSA event is getting really big. So they were going to sell out at 450. They've now got 600 confirmed tickets sold. They've had to change locations for the awards night. So that's over 600 people going to the International Convention Centre on the Thursday. And then also for the awards night, they got 600 tickets. People booked in, black tie event.
Huge.
And they're not selling out. They're just going to keep finding room. So we're in the big top at Luna Park.
Awesome.
For the event.
Yeah, that'd be really exciting. So if anyone hasn't already bought a ticket who's in Sydney or the surrounds, we definitely encourage you to buy a ticket, because not only is it going to be good for you to learn more about recruitment, but there's a big power in meeting other recruiters and learning how they do things. It's going to be super fun. It's a good opportunity to kind of, put the tools down for a day or a night, and then just actually be more involved in your industry rather than just, being the recruiter at the desk 24/7. Come along to an industry event, meet other people, and actually start participating in the industry. I think it's going to be super fun.
Yeah, they got industry heavyweights. They got software people. They've got sports stars coming, coaches. The CEO, Charles, is talking.
Podcasters.
Yeah, they've got some of Australia's best podcasters coming as well. So yeah, it's going to be a red hot day. And I think all in one day, it's going to be a big day, but it's going to be a day worth attending.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Well, yeah, that's everything that's happened in the last couple of weeks. We'll love to hear from the community on all these different aspects. Thanks again to Before You Speak Coffee, who's got us going. And we'll see you all next week.
See you next week. Thanks for tuning in to another Confessions of a Recruiter podcast with Blake and Declan. We hope you enjoyed and got a lot of value and insights out of this episode. If you do have any questions, or you would like to recommend someone to come on the Confessions podcast, we would love any introductions. And remember the rule of the podcast: like, share, and recommend it to a friend. Until next time.